we are switching the perspective a little bit. We are not talking that much on new arrival to Berlin, but all these gentlemen here have been here for a while and made their experiences, and we'll ask or we'll discuss pretty much similar questions, but with a few more years of experience in Berlin. What I'd like to know is, how was the intercultural preparation that your company provided to you when you came to Germany?
Basically, the preparation that I got from my company, the funny story that I got my job through a network, actually. So, you know, most of you know Sing. I just contacted from Sing in Argentina, Oracle Sales Berlin, and somebody came and then contacted him and can you come? And I was here, actually. I was lucky, I had to admit, I was an international team, so the impact was not that strong, actually. So they didn't invest too much with me, actually, on the preparation. I would like, actually, could have been better if I would have some preparation to get the feeling when I went outside of the company, the international atmosphere, to get to know how to react. Because as we heard already in the first panel, there are some quite cultural details that's important to bear in mind that could really save your time and some interesting moment, let's call it this way.
The first time I came to Germany was many years ago, and I had no preparation at all apart from university. I came, joined the bank, and had to fight my way through. And made one mistake, I think, of trying to become totally integrated, developing a German personality instead of retaining my international personality. I'm now back on my third assignment in Germany, so it can't have been too bad the first time round. I keep coming back. I've been back for 2.5 years now. And I went to an area of a very German company providing banking and insurance together, and discovered it is possible to be bored in Berlin. Our area does have its moments of less than total fascination.
You live in Spandau, or?
Schöneberg. But as I've developed this, it became more and more clear that there's been a big transformation in the years I got to know Germany in terms of friendliness. People are much more relaxed, much more laid back than they were back in 1979. But one area where not much has changed is the service area. And I experienced my very German department, which I'm connected to, and the terror in the faces of my colleagues when they say there's somebody from England down there. They were so relieved when somebody like me can take over the conversation with the client. So there's still a lot missing in the service area in terms of providing what the expatriate client is looking for.
Well, this is your third assignment to Germany, but you have also been assigned to different countries. Brazil was one of these, and another one?
United States.
The United States. And how far is arriving in Germany different than from arriving in the US or in Brazil?
US was no problem at all because Brits and Americans sort of belong together somehow. There's no major conflict there at all. But myself, as an English guy perceived as a German in Brazil, was in the same situation as yourself. I've forgotten your name again. So. Brittany. You obviously don't look too Chinese and Japanese, and I do my best to look Brazilian, but it's really not very convincing. And that's when I discovered this necessity not to become too integrated. I couldn't get integrated in Brazil. I was always the gringo. And it's a great situation. I enjoyed it. I had no incentive to become one of the group. And so when I've come back to Germany, I find I'm going to use the things that I like about being English, a little bit of Brazil I picked up along the way, and a little bit of Germany, but develop my own personality instead of taking what's imposed.
I think it's time now for the American perspective. Alexander von Engelhardt, the name is very German, and you're living both cultures alike, and you as a lawyer work also for many clients from abroad in Germany. So you have this dual perspective, being one of those providing services and being one who knows how it is to need those services. What is your view on how easy or difficult is it for an expatriate in Berlin with regards to using those services that you need?
Well, from my experience, it's very difficult for an expat to get somehow to touch base in Germany. It starts with officialdom, as you mentioned already. The registration, that is already a little pain. That is almost negligible when you're coming from a visa waiver country, but otherwise it is just the officialdom already. It's so. It knocks from somebody else's minds out. Simple. I just had a case with an American, an IT professional, a very brilliant guy. He wanted to come in as a highly qualified. And he never, that is, his advantage would be permanent residency from the beginning. That was his goal. And he would not get it. I could tell him in front. Simple. Though he was highly qualified, he could not prove it. Germans want to see a piece of paper saying this guy is highly qualified, has academic credentials, not only just a credential, but minimum a PhD, best with a couple of patents running around somewhere in the world or just only in Germany. But if you cannot prove anything you want to be, then you're nothing in Germany. And that's so difficult for many persons.
Okay, it's one way or one possibility to complain and to look at the situation as it is, but maybe we are able also to improve a little bit on the situation. So what could it be, or what kind of services designed for people like you would you find helpful? What can people like us, trainers or relocation services, human resource companies, HR companies, what could we do to make things easier for expatriates in their process of relocating? Mario.
Indeed, I think it's a major investment for a company to move somebody to another country. Okay, so it's very important that this person really feel comfortable in the new environment that is relocated. Okay, so since they invest a lot, they have to make sure that they have all the tools, and especially not only tools, but the people. We are people, and we connect to people, and we need to feel comfortable with the people that we're surrounded. If this expat, they don't find quickly a comfortable atmosphere, they can feel like home. Let's put it this way. They will get dismotivated, lower the level of working in the work, and that is what is going to cost some money. So, as regards services, I can talk what I have passion about it. Being working with them for 3 years as an ambassador for International. This is the world's largest expat community with more than 250 communities around the world, and we exponentially grows in Berlin just because of the necessity to connect with people that you feel that you're sharing the same things, you know, and there are many services there, like meeting once per month with these same-minded people, global minds, we call it.
We're talking about Zing before, and that's how I met Alexander, because I discovered he was working in very much the same area as I am, looking after new arrivals in the legal area, financial area. We're working on sort of networks of other professionals, doctors and so on, to have people in place to recommend for the new arrival. Because there is the situation, you arrive here and you can find a dentist. I found a dentist last week who I went to have a tooth looked at, and he said 13,000 euros. I mean, there's always a way to spend money on a dentist. But how do you find the right dentist? Huh? How much English does the dentist need to speak? You don't have much of a conversation with your dentist, but you might feel more comfortable if you could understand what he's saying to you. So I think that's something which we should all be looking at developing further, finding a kind of group of like-minded, internationally minded people providing services and providing fun. Because that's something we can all do with too. And if we can combine service and fun, I think that's an excellent way forward.
When have I arrived? Sort of like not only the formalities, but also having the place where I want to live. And how can I easily find it? Do I just have to take the very first apartment I find here? Or is it an idea just to take a very cheap, affordable room somewhere in a dark corner, just have a cheap place at first, and then start roaming around the city to find my dream of an apartment or house where I want to live in, or things like that. It's simply orientation.
So here we have a question from the audience. What resources, networks, papers, points of information have you found most useful in becoming integrated and feeling at home in Berlin? That's a good question. Who wants to answer it?
Network in general, let's put it this way, because I'm representing internations, but it's not only internations there. There are a lot of networks there that you can go and get the information from the source, from the people who live there. It's not just written. So when you got the personal contact, it's the most valuable one. So that's why one of the services of the internation is people can put in the map what are the people, these global minds like. So then you can see what are the restaurants, what are the organizations, what are the babysitters, what are the schools for your kids. There are people, global minds are recommended in a map, for example. You can even find who is from the same country of you living in the same city. So these kind of small services is a lot of resources you can take from a network, call it international, call it whoever you want, that is providing you a service to quickly adapt and get the sources from the people who live there and have a little more experience.
I have another very interesting question here. If the situation was reversed, do you think your home country or home city would be more welcoming to somebody from Germany? In what way is this a cultural issue? Good question.
Argentina, there's open arms. We have many history of immigrants, so it's very open. And I have an experience, an example actually. Most of the expats used to come to my place, and we do nice barbecues and get used to. And my father used to come offer more meat, and a German will say no, and a no is a no. And Argentina no is like, yeah, give me more because I'm shy, you know. Yeah, and he was like, come on, no. He said no, and he's like shocked, you know. And another quick example is, for example, with beer. Beer, for example, in Argentina we have 1 liter beer bottles because we share. We bought one in order not to get cold. We share the glasses. So there was the German came to the city, bring his bottle, very happy, 1 liter beer. Say, Jesus. And then a friend of mine just got the bottle, okay, and he was looking at it. It's my bottle, you know. So these are cultural things different that make it fun, actually.
Mario, you said something, I think that's one of the most important words here, the comfort zone, where people feel at home, because that's what it means to be an expatriate. You have to make your home somewhere else, and the comfort zone is provided how? That's a question. I think those painful bureaucratic aspects like banking or registration and those things, at some point they are done with. And once the administration is done, people may still feel isolated and not at home if they do not get their comfort zone. And even their intercultural training, we can do as much intercultural training as we want and do courses and coaching and so. If people don't interact, if they don't do the networking, it will be very, very difficult for these people. My question, though, is what is your experience with whom are the expatriates in Germany actually coming together? Are these networks, are these comfort zones expatriate networks such as internations, or are the expatriates eventually finding their place with the Germans? So it's a question about integration that I'm asking, of course. Is the expatriate world an isolated, a separate world in Berlin? Is this, we have so many worlds here in Berlin. Is there an expatriate world next to the local world, or is this interacting, is this blending? Are Berliners able of providing this kind of comfort zone?
I would think that it's much more lively in the international sector because the Germans have a big comfort zone too. Don't come too close, please. let's wait until we've known each other for a year or two, then maybe we have a cup of tea. And then a year later, we go for a beer, coffee, yeah. It takes time because both sides are sort of a little bit nervous. I don't want to interfere with your lifestyle. I don't want to upset you. I have new neighbors on my landing and haven't spoken to them yet because they keep hiding when I come out of the door. And there is this nervousness. You were saying about you were going straight up to people and saying hello, and that really does disturb some people. I don't think that's a reason not to do it, though. So we come back to situations up to us. Huh? We make of it what we can. There's a lot of great opportunities out there. You're going to run into some people who really don't want to be spoken to. Just move on and get to the next one. Huh?
Let's move on and go to the next one. That's a good word of closing. Closing this second round at the Berlin Intercultural Forum. Thank you very much to all three of you for sharing your experiences, having been to Berlin for while, a shorter while or longer while, and having made your experiences with us, with the Germans, with our welcoming attitude and integrative attitude that we have. I learned a lot more about us Germans here than about you guys, but that's good. Thank you very much.